this book right here is going to make you take a look at yourself. It's going to give you both sides of the story from a good police officer as well as an African American mother of two sons. So you get to see both sides, and you get to see both sides honestly and raw. You get to see why I became a police officer. So you get to see my heart, and then you can go ahead and judge the book at that point, because I put all my heart and soul in this book. But I believe this book is going to start to mend a lot of gaps. It's going to start bridging the gap between law enforcement and African American community. But I also think it's going to start bridging the gap between the African American community and the African American community. I think we're going to start coming together because of this book. It's going. I'm telling you, I know it is. I think that this is a good read, and you can even, you know it, you can let your children read this book.
Now, just 2 weeks ago, I spoke with Cleveland Police Chief Williams, and I asked him, how does the police recruitment process determine authentic compassion and that they really want to help black people in the community? And he explained that they're updating it, and they have questionnaires and stuff on, I guess, racism and different things like that. But what advice would you give for how to detect racism?
Oh, that's a good one. It's so easy to hide. Y'all know that. I can make you see what you want to see, but just for a minute. Because I feel like as a police chief, unless you're like, unfortunately, Cleveland is such a big department. You have so many officers, so I'm sure that the chief, unfortunately, is put in a bad situation. He can't watch over all his patrolmen, so he doesn't know. So he's entrusting his sergeants and his lieutenants. But what if your sergeant not right? Or what if your lieutenant's not right? So it does take a process. Do I think that some of the questionnaires may help? Maybe. But I can lie easily. I can lie. I can tell you what you want to hear. I believe if you really want to know the heart of somebody, sit down with them long enough. Start asking questions, because if it's not sincere, you're gonna start seeing them. You're gonna start say the uncomfortable questions. You know, this is a predominantly black neighborhood. Yes. Why do you want to work out here? And that's so. Would you say, you know, when you get out here, how are you going to make a difference in this neighborhood? You're not of this race, so how are you going to make a difference? You know what I'm saying? Give them some questions where they would be shocked, like, oh my God, I didn't think he was going to ask me that. And then you follow up during their probationary periods. You make sure you have good training officers that are able to detect certain things. Trust me, when you get comfortable during your training, you know you're almost off. Officers start saying things that you'll be like, what? And they hear certain things when they say, I'm just playing. No, they're not playing. When they say, I don't want to work in this dirty city, or look, it's so nasty, that needs to be a red flag for me. So, and I think that also, I think chiefs should also make it an open door policy to go sit down and talk to a lieutenant or a sergeant if you're concerned about one of your coworkers. You don't have to say, I'm not going to say who told me. This is a concern for me. I'm concerned about it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a white officer. It could be a black officer that's not right. I had a concern. I want to just bring it to the forefront. And I think then the sergeant should maybe ride along or keep an eye or sit down and talk to this person. But a lot of times officers don't tell because they feel like they're going to get blackballed, or they're going to get fired, or they're going to be, ostracized. So that's why a lot of times officers won't say anything, because a lot of times that racism don't show up right away.
You policed in East Cleveland, which is where you grew up, and you talked about how you saw those people, the residents, as the girls as your daughters, the boys as your sons. And you're from that community, you're from a black family, different things like that. Do you feel that it's possible for a white officer to adopt that same mentality?
Yes.
If they're not from that area?
Yes.
Okay.
I honestly do. If they haven't been, what's the word I want to say? If they have not been, not even brainwashed. If it depends on their beliefs and their value system. If they didn't go through what I did, remember I told you at first, I was one-sided thinking. I never would have thought a white woman would be my threat. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on what their upbringing was. If they were brought up to believe everybody's equal, you got good and bad in every color, they would be, and if they're like, look, I just want to make the community better, I want to make it safe. Yes, they will be amazing officers. Because I know several white officers that are amazing police officers.
Now, how does a city like Warrensville Heights, which has a decent black population, how did it go so long without a black female police officer?
I have no idea. I've heard rumors, so I'm not gonna say. I'm not sure for say. I can't say for sure why. Um, that's a very interesting question.
Because to me, what what I picked up from it was you have a decent black population, which means you have black women.
That's right.
And when women are getting searched, more than likely it may be by a white male.
That's right.
And I know that's very uncomfortable for women. And we've seen, the cop in Oklahoma, he was touching and harassing those women that he was pulling over. So, what is the connection? Do you empathize with that when women have to be searched by men or different things like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Even if the officer is doing it the right way, it's uncomfortable. Who wants to feel a male that's not your husband? I mean, it just makes you feel so uncomfortable. Then in your mind, you thinking, okay, is this the way they're supposed to be searching me, or are they doing something wrong? So you have it both ways. That's why I think that it's an importance to have females on the police department. Not only that, females seem to have a little bit more compassion for certain things. They can speak a certain way. Usually when it's a male and male confrontation, it's a testosterone thing. So they go back and forth. Whereas if you bring a female in, sometimes, several times I've seen male bring it all the way down when I come in. Because to them, I'm not a threat. They look at me and maybe it's a bad thing or a good thing. She ain't a threat. Well, as long as I can diffuse the situation and you can go home and I can go home, look at me the way you want to. But then I've also had men say, I'm not about to disrespect this woman right here. And that makes me feel good. But then I've had men say, this female not about to put no cuffs on me. So it goes either way.